So today we're going to go over how to wrap at home for lymphedema, and this video is going to go over how to wrap the lower leg, so the foot, ankle, and up to the knee. So the first thing you want to make sure that you have is all of your supplies ready to go. I usually have all of my bandages laid out and my tape strips cut so that they are ready to go, so that I'm not having to reach for things while I'm bandaging. So this is Paige. She's going to be our model today that shows us kind of how to do this. When you're wrapping at home, probably the easiest way to do this is in a recliner or on a bed, someplace where the person wrapping doesn't have to bend over as much. So when the person who's doing the wrapping, they can either be sitting or standing, whatever's easiest. But just keep in mind it is a lot of kind of bending over, so you want to have them at a level that's best for you. The first thing you're going to do is put lotion on the leg. So it's important to put lotion on because this is a very drying condition, lymphedema is, and it's important to keep your skin healthy and free of those little cracks that come with dry skin, because those can be openings for infections. So you want to make sure you get lotion over all parts that you're going to be wrapping. So the next step is to use the stockinette that's been cut for you, or if you need to cut a new piece, you typically want to cut the length that you're going to be wrapping and then kind of double it, is usually the rule of thumb, because these you can wash and they tend to shrink up in the wash. So we're going to go ahead and put this on just like a stocking. So we'll fold this back, and then we're going to use our gauze that's about 1 inch wide, and we're going to be wrapping each individual toe. So we're going to start here at the base of the toes. And what I usually like to do is start with this on the top, the roll on the top. So everybody's natural inclination is to roll with the rolled side down, but then you start to lose control of the roll. So it's actually a lot easier if you roll with the roll side up. So you're going to go around the base of the toes twice, and you're not really pulling on this, you're just putting enough tension to lay the gauze flat. So then you're going to wrap each individual toe. It doesn't matter really which one you start with. So we're going to go around each toe twice. Then we're going to go back around the foot before going to the next toe. So, to the next toe, then back around. Then we go to the next toe. And again, I'm not pulling tight. If you pull tight, you'll start to see increased space between the gauze, and that's an indication that you're pulling too tight. Once you get to the fourth toe, this is actually going to be the last toe you do. There's really no need to do the pinky. It doesn't really swell much, and it tends to just fall off of that toe. So I usually just leave the pinky off. So once I'm done with all these 4 toes, I usually just let this roll out until it's done. And then this just sticks to itself. So you don't have to use masking tape for this. Then you're going to pull this back over to keep that in. Okay? The next step is to get our foam. So it's called Rosidol foam. There's also Compra foam. But either me or your therapist might have shown you some foam that looks like this with a gray foam. Sometimes we'll use this here and wrap over that. So just use whichever foam that we talked about or your therapist talked to you about. The other 2 pieces I'm going to show you are these little pieces that go around the ankles. So these just help kind of get that ankle definition. Now you can see Paige here doesn't really have lymphedema, so she doesn't have that swelling that usually collects back in here. But we want to get our ankles to look like her ankles. So we utilize these foam pads to go right here to kind of carve that out to help our ankles look like ankles again. So what we're going to do is put these in and secure them with our foam. So I'll show you this as we kind of go along here. But you're going to start this foam at the top of the foot, and you just go around, overlapping about 50%. You might have to overlap a little more on this one. And then once you get up to this point, you're going to use the little, we call them kidney foam pads. You're going to put this shape right behind that ankle bone. You can kind of feel around for it. And then you're going to kind of secure that back there with the white foam. Then we're going to place this on the other side the same way. Then I'm going to have you bend your knee. So now what we're going to do is we're going to overlap our wrap by 50% each time. And I'm not pulling, and it's okay if you have little gaps or, bends. That'll be corrected once we put the other bandages on. And when you get to the top, you don't want to use masking tape on this because it'll stretch it out and mess it up. So I usually just tuck it in until we get to the brown bandages part. So we're going to start at the top of the foot, and this bandage is called a figure 8. So this is done in a figure 8 pattern, but we'll start at the top of the foot, kind of the base of the toes. We're going to go around twice to secure it. I'm going to have her pull her toes up to flex her foot while we're doing this. So, and that's because if you're wrapped down like this, it's going to be harder to walk than it is with your foot up. Otherwise, with the foot wrapped up like this, you should be able to walk just fine in these. So you're going to wrap like a figure 8 around the ankle, come around, and then back down. And you're doing that 3 times total. So that was 1, 2, and each time you come across the top of the foot, you're going to give a little tug. And here's 3, and here's my tug. Tug, so that's 3, and then you're going to go up almost like you're going to do a 4th one. And now you're going to wrap up the leg, overlapping about 50% each time you go. Pulling a little tug each time you come around. And then you secure it with the masking tape. So there should be a big gap here. The biggest mistake people make with this first bandage is they try to wrap this whole foot. So when you're wrapping around the foot with the figure 8, keep your bandages down towards the top of the foot here. Keep this part open because we'll come back and close that with this next bandage. Okay, so that's the first one. The second bandage is called ankle heel, ankle sole. So we start at the ankle, then we go around the heel, come back up to the ankle, and then go around the sole. Ankle, heel, ankle, sole. So we're going to go around the ankle. We go around twice to secure it. Then around the heel. So go ahead and pull your foot up again. So this is where we're going to cover that part. So I'm coming across the top of the foot to cover the heel, not around the side. That's what everybody tries to do. So you want to come across the top, make a sling for that heel. So that's ankle, heel. Now we'll go back around the ankle, and I usually come a little lower to kind of cover up that foam that's showing. So that's ankle. And now around the sole, we're going to cover this part that's still showing here. Sole. So we did ankle, heel, ankle, sole. Now we just work our way up. So go ahead and bend your knee again. And we work our way up the leg, overlapping 50% and just pulling only when we come across the top. We don't want to pull all the way around because that will make the bandage really tight and uncomfortable. And then we just secure it with the masking tape. For the third bandage, you're going to use a 10 centimeter bandage. And this one you're going to start about at the ankle. And I usually go a reverse direction than what I was going before. So if I was going this way, I'm now going to go this way. And that just avoids unnecessary pulling always this way. So it lets us go this way to avoid the force on the leg. So we're going to start at the ankle, and we're going to go around, overlapping by 50%, and just pulling across the top. So these last two are pretty easy compared to the first two. Once you get the first two down, the last two work out just fine. So then we're going to secure this. So now even though we're up at the top of the leg, we're still going to do another bandage. And that's because the compression of the wrap is actually more received from the amount of layers rather than by how tight we pull. So we want to do one more layer on here to get it nice and compressed. So we're going to go back to our another wrap with our 10 centimeter. We're going to go back to the way we were wrapping originally. So I'm going to start about mid shin with this one and go around. Now the other thing you can do if you're having trouble kind of controlling this part, you can put the start bandage, you could put a little piece of tape there so you don't have to worry about it. And you can do that on any of them. So you're going to go around, overlap about 50%, tugging just at the top. And then when you get up to the top and you have some left, just kind of work your way back down, but don't pull on these. And then it just rolls itself out. And you're going to use a pretty good amount of masking tape to secure this since it's your last bandage. And then you'll pull this down over the top, pull this over the toes, and you're all set.